Hello, everyone. If you're anything like me, you were so busy jamming out to that music, I don't know if you want to hear me talk. So my name is Tia White. I am the GM of AI and ML, Ad Tech and MarTech here at AWS. I actually just celebrated my two-year anniversary. We are going to discuss the power of generative AI and Amazon Personalize and unlocking the value you all can create for your end users. Today, I am joined, or I will be joined on stage with Liam Morrison, Principal Solutions Architect overseeing a portfolio of AI services, as well as Daryl Bowden from Fox, who is the Executive Vice President of Technology Platforms. Our agenda is jam-packed with goodness. First, we will talk about why personalization is so important, which I'm sure I don't need to remind any of you why it's now a necessity. Then we'll discuss some of the challenges and why Amazon Personalize is poised to handle that for you now. We will share the latest features that we've launched throughout the year, as well as features we just launched on Sunday night. And then we'll get into some generative AI capabilities. We'll go deep with the demo from Liam. And then we'll end with Daryl sharing the Fox story, how they're leveraging Amazon Personalize, how they will merge generative AI and Amazon Personalize to transform their end user experience. Every touch point is personal, whether it's the categories you show to your end users or the artwork that's displayed, the titles being promoted, the promotions themselves, the order of the content, the carousels in which they show up for each individual user, even the order of the outbound communication and what's sent to whom. You have the ability to hyper-personalize at an individual level your end user experience. In 2023, we find ourselves in the midst of a transformative era, underscored by the incredible and fast advancements that generative AI is unfolding before our eyes. We are actively listening to our customers, keeping a pulse check on the industry, and we fully understand how to create personalized experiences by fusing generative AI and Amazon Personalize. The opportunities are endless. You can do so much with the power of the two. Now, I'll be dating myself here a bit, but I'm a part of the Gen Y demographic. So I'm between the age of 36 and 54. Now you try to figure out what my age is. We truly care about individualized experiences. My generation values loyalty. We value brand, and more importantly, we value the brands that understand us as individuals and create a loyal experience for us to want to return. Our buying power exceeds $350 million. Now we have that other generation that's going to soon take over the world, Gen Z. They range between the age of 25 and 35. They represent a new phenomenon that we must all get ready for, because by the year 2030, they will possess a lion's share of the currency power in the market. This generation appreciates uniqueness, authenticity, and self-expression. This generation comprises more than 320 million in currency in the market. They themselves typically don't return to brands if it's not personalized. Together, these two generations will take over the market, and so we must be ready to meet them where they are and exceed their expectations. In today's dynamic marketplace, it's a mandate for businesses to offer personalized experiences. Dive into the data, and you'll find a staggering 76% of consumers leaning towards brands that offer just a touch of personalization. And guess what? Those that personalize experiences typically see a 10 to 15% at least lift in revenue. Amazon has more than or almost 3 decades of personalization experience. Some would say that we pioneered this at scale. Based on our learnings, we launched Amazon Personalize, a fully managed AI service in 2019. It enables you to easily, accurately, and quickly build recommendation systems. Note I said systems and not models or machine learning solutions, but a system saving you a significant amount of time and resources. Amazon Personalize fully automates the machine learning development lifecycle, building, training, and deploying your models, reducing your time to deploy personalized recommendations, and more importantly, in today's market, optimizing your total cost of ownership. We offer real-time recommendations, and that's so critical in today's market because what someone browsed or was interested in yesterday does not equate to an interest tomorrow. Again, this is a holistic solution, so we go beyond machine learning. We understand that being able to do this at scale, you need features such as promoting important items, filtering out things that maybe were just recently purchased but would have been surfaced, wrangling data. How many of you have tried to onboard or build a model and just the uphill battle with understanding your data, making sure you had a full data set that was fully proficient and accurate took tons of time? So we solved that in January. It's easy to integrate into your existing tech stack with the simple API call. And lastly, with AWS, something that I always admired as a former customer before joining the company, we have a comprehensive suite of security and compliance controls. We set that bar extremely high. That means that leveraging a service like Amazon Personalize, you get that rigor and discipline, and it helps you stay compliant and ready when the auditors or someone is coming to make sure you meet that or exceed that bar. All models are private. We never share your data. They're only used for your recommendations. And again, we do not even share it with outside entities beyond AWS. So, since launch, we have continually evolved to cater to our ever-changing customer needs and demands. Today, we provide a comprehensive suite of 6 foundational use cases. First, user personalization. Personalized products or content recommendations tailored to a specific user's profile are more likely to drive higher conversion rates. Related items, also known as similar items. Recommendations should not fall victim to a popularity trap. Similar item recommendations help user discover related or comparable existing items in a catalog to help with cross-sell, upsell, and conversion. Personalized ranking. Business priorities require you to promote content or products such as seasonal merchandise or things that are time-bound. Amazon Personalize enables you to the ability to re-rank your product catalog or highlight something that users would find highly beneficial, all while balancing what's important to you. User segmentation. Breaking through users means targeting the right message to the right user at the right time. Managing segmentation with rules can be hard, brittle, and a lot of upkeep. With machine learning, we dynamically evolve over time, and we help you avoid over-messaging. Trending now, recommending items gaining popularity and a fast pace among your users. Again, something very important for the Gen Y and Gen Z demographic. And popular items, recommending the items that are most popular based on interaction data. Now, as I already shared, we go beyond just basic machine learning. We have provided our customers with a comprehensive set of features that helps you, out of the box, build a highly personalized solution. Starting with real-time recommendations. I won't belabor this topic, but it's hard to do. I remember prior to joining AWS, I spent about 14 months building an omni-channel personalization solution. My predecessor had already spent a year and a half. And we were able to do it for a small population, a successful POC, and it was offline. Now try to inject building a real-time recommendation solution that has the proper latency mitigation, and most often companies can only get to near real time. It is friggin' hard. Cold start items. The challenge of delivering relevant recommendations, especially new items in a rapidly changing catalog, can be hard, and we call that the cold start problem. We address this challenge by balancing new content exposure and relevance through an exploration weight, ensuring new items find their way to your end user quickly and effectively. Business rules and metrics optimization. Amazon Personalize balances optimal recommendations with your business goals. We allow you to work backwards from what is also important to you. Take click-through rate, revenue, watch time. You can set those parameters and optimize your recommendations based on that. Again, we also allow for promotions. Textual information extraction. Important details could inform recommendations, and this was often trapped in unstructured text, such as product descriptions or product reviews. So a few years ago, we launched a feature that uses natural language processing to extract vital textual information to generate more precise and relevant recommendations. I already mentioned data insights, data wrangling. In January of this year, we launched a feature that allows us to assess your data after you upload it or stream it and determine if it's comparable or viable. And if it's not, if we see opportunities or anomalies, then we give you gentle nudges of things that you can work to improve the data set. This helps with time to value. It helps with speed to market. It helps you resolve that troubleshooting much faster and quicker. And it's honestly one of our most widely used features, believe it or not. Domain recommenders. We understand that certain industries and domains have specific needs. And so while we are an industry-agnostic service, we invested 2 years ago in specific domain recommenders for the retail industry as well as the media and entertainment industry to, again, accelerate time to value. Rapid experimentation. Again, we are very obsessed with making sure our customers can derive the most value at a high effective rate very quickly. In this past summer, we launched a feature that allows you to accelerate your experimentation by adding new columns to your data set without having to start over or reproduce a resource. And that has also been a game changer for our customers. And then last but certainly not least, impact measurement. It's all about how do you assess your return on investment. Amazon Personalize allows you to input an event into our system or multiple recommendations to assess the impact that we could have on your output. It allows you to have a data-driven strategy and make sure you are able to get a return on your investment. Our commitment to innovation does not stop. We are relentlessly customer-obsessed. In 2023, based on customer feedback and industry trends, we introduced 3 exciting new use cases that take personalization to the next level. One we launched in October, which is personalized search. Next Best Action just launched on Sunday night. And we just launched 3 new generative AI capabilities that I'm so excited to share with you today. Now let's dive a bit into each of these and help you understand the power that we are bringing to you to create hyper-personalized end-user experiences. Search is a crucial component in engaging site and app users, as it brings high-intent traffic from individuals seeking specific products or categories. Studies have shown that over 30% plus of website visitors utilize the search bar, and they do that to locate specific products and content. We also see a 5 to 6 times higher conversion rate for an effective search experiences versus those customers that don't engage in search. Enterprises want to improve the relevance of their search results. Previously, customers found it very difficult to provide relevant search results to their users due to lack of machine learning expertise or infrastructure scaling limitations. In October, we launched a new integration between Amazon Personalize and Amazon OpenSearch. OpenSearch is a service used by customers to power their search experience. It's also a fully managed service. This allows enterprises to increase their conversion and engagement from their site search. This integration allows Personalize to offer a highly proficient machine learning-based search experience that's hyper-personalized. Enterprises can boost relevant items in their search results based on different types of use cases that account for an individual's past interactions or context, thus improving accuracy. For example, let's take an automobile e-commerce use case. Let's say for starters, a customer goes on a site and puts in a very specific search criteria, Mazda CX-30. In that situation, the search is pretty easy. It's going to be able to return because it's so specific, Mazda CX-30. Now, how often are search queries or search inputs that specific? Not a lot. So now let's say you go onto that same e-commerce site and you simply put in Toyota. And putting in Toyota, you could get a slew of responses. But with something like personalized search, we take into account your preferences, your interactions, we take into account metadata, and we are able to return hyper-personalized search results, drastically improving the conversion and the engagement of end users, ultimately impacting revenue. Next best action, something that I am so excited about because I think it's a game changer. It goes well beyond basic recommendations. With the proliferation of digital channels and technology advances that make hyper-personalization more accessible, it can become overwhelming for brands to determine what marketing materials, such as messages or actions, will maximize engagement for each individual customer. Traditional customer segmentation approaches are no longer sufficient, as every customer expects a unique experience. And when they don't have that, they typically abandon brands. Just Sunday, we launched Next Best Action. I'll use NBA from here on out. A new model that allows you to determine the best action that you should offer your individual end users that will help with engagement and increase likelihood of conversion and deepen loyalty. Actions are any task that a user can complete to engage with the brand. With NBA, you can recommend actions such as adding on a service, downloading an app, enrolling in a loyalty program. NBA empowers you to simultaneously reduce marketing clutter and noise by tailoring the right action to the right user, maximizing your revenue potential. And one important thing, did I mention it's real time? We believe this is a game changer. It will deepen the relationship, again, with this demographic group I keep talking about because they will change the buying habits. They've already done it, Gen Y and Gen Z. Now, what we've all been waiting for, I'm sure, this thing that has taken over our lives. I was joking earlier today at lunch, and I said, I have an aunt, she's probably in her 60s, and she had no clue what I did at work. She had no clue what AI was. And now she wants to have a full conversation at Thanksgiving about what AI is. She even asked me, oh, do you think that was an artificial intelligence response? And so generative AI is a form of artificial intelligence that creates new content, such as text or images, by leveraging something we call a foundation model, which is trained on vast amounts of data. And the data allows you, and that model allows you, to adapt that foundation model, or FM, to multiple use cases. The reason why generative AI has become so popular because of the scale, the magnitude, and the endless opportunities you can do with it in a very short amount of time. We are all excited about the evolution of generative AI. This is a transformative technology, and it has not only reshaped the way we work, but it has also revolutionized how we engage with customers. But generative AI alone cannot create hyper-personalized experiences. On Sunday, we announced 3 generative AI launches that are tailored to different personas because we want to meet you all where you are. First, we launched Amazon Personalized Content Generator, a fully managed capability that uses large language models to generate themes for a set of recommendations. These large language models, or LLMs, can identify the thematic similarity of a recommended item to use natural language to create a simple but highly engaging description, which can be used for carousel titles, marketing email subject lines, or push notification headings. With Amazon Personalized Content Generator, our customers can augment their recommendations to improve content discovery experience, product promotion, and marketing outcomes. So let's take an example. Let's say you've been shopping online at your favorite retailer for a black dress to wear to your best friend's bachelorette party. And you, 30 minutes later, receive a push notification or an email that says, we think you may like. Now, let's rewind. Let's say you had been taking those same actions on that retailer, searching for a black dress, but instead, the subject line comes through and says, a toast to the little black dress. Which one will prompt you to want to open that email versus simply delete it? Which one will prompt you to want to engage with that brand versus simply ignore it? I think the second one would. And that is the power of Amazon Personalized Content Generator. A lot of customers also want the flexibility to build their own generative AI applications. As we showed earlier, Amazon Personalize can generate product and content recommendations, user segmentations, and we do that exceptionally well. The output of Amazon Personalize can be an ideal input into a large language model or an LLM to improve personalization in your generative AI solutions. To facilitate this workflow, we now offer a streamlined integration of Personalize with LLM frameworks such as LangChain. For those of you who are not familiar with LangChain, it's a framework designed to perform a variety of tasks that allow you to quickly and effectively build generative AI solutions into your end user experience, such as text summarization, a chat experience, etc. Builders can now get access to Amazon Personalized capabilities directly from LangChain. This will make it easier for you to add personalization to your generative AI projects while remaining in the same ecosystem. Lastly, we have launched a return metadata capability to help you enrich recommendations with metadata such as pricing, rating, and product descriptions. You can feed the enriched recommendation into LLMs to generate highly personalized content that will further boost your engagement for your end users. To combine the last two generative AI capabilities, we will release later in December an upgraded LangChain integration that will combine LangChain and the metadata return for an even powerful experience. Across retail, media and entertainment, travel and hospitality, sports, profit, nonprofit, businesses of all scale, we can help you transform your end user experience. We are making advancements. We are providing real-time recommendations, and we help bring your vision to reality, again, for every company, small or large. We have over 1,700 customers we work with, and we are proud to work with you all to help bring your vision to life. Equinox saw a 92% increase in engagement while using Personalize to recommend classes on their premier fitness app. PBS, a widely recognized public broadcaster in the US, saw a 10 to 18% increase in weekly traffic across all of their properties. Chewy, our favorite pet store, also used Amazon Personalize to re-rank items, which resulted in a vast improvement in cart to checkout, which means customers were spending more. They said this was a substantial impact for a business like Chewy, where irrelevant recommendations could erode the trust with customers. None of these advancements I talked about today would be possible without feedback from our valued customers. I'll now turn things over to Liam.
Thank you, T.
Thank you.
So my name's Liam. I'm a senior manager here at AWS. So when customers engage, they expect personalization. So when they engage with the platform, they expect things to be personalized for them, as Tia mentioned. So they're constantly also being bombarded with recommendations. Those recommendations are coming from all sides. So what many sites will do, from streaming to retail, is they'll provide a recommendation that, again, that's unique, and it causes a customer to stop in their tracks, look at that recommendation, and engage with it. We feel that Amazon Personalize, combined with the power of generative AI, can help our customers provide that type of hyper-personalization for their customers. So, as Tia mentioned, on Sunday we launched the Amazon Personalized Content Generator, which utilizes generative AI within the service to create unique themes based on a seed item. So for instance, based on the title Something from Tiffany's, which is a romantic comedy from Amazon Studios, we already had that capability to say, if you like this title, here are other titles you may also like, or more titles like that. As Tia mentioned, will that get you to engage? Possibly not. It has a good place on a site, such as when you're done watching that one title, maybe here's more titles to watch. So, however, with the Amazon Personalized Content Generator, you can take that seed item, generate a set of recommendations, and give it a unique theme. So similar to the retail example, This theme that came up with from these 5 titles is love, laughter, and hijinks. So it's designed to be witty and engaging. And also worth noting is the Amazon Personalized Content Generator feature can reorder the titles based on their applicability to that theme. So that's designed to be engaging. Normally, this is done very manually. So prior to this, you would have creatives that would take the titles, create a theme, fill the rail or the carousel with titles that match that theme, and put it onto the site. Now what you can do is you can redirect that effort to review the large list of themes that are generated from Amazon Personalize, establish whether they make sense, check the titles to make sure they're relevant for the theme, and really then take what was one rail and create dozens, if not hundreds, of themes. So in media, these are often called microgenres. So everyone's familiar with action, comedy. Microgenres are these really specifically unique sub-themes. So the features we launched definitely can help generate these themes. One caveat I didn't want to mention is all of the demos and slides I have today talk about media and entertainment use cases. As Tia mentioned, the features we launched are generalizable across many use cases, from retail to travel and hospitality and more. So I'm just demoing in the media context. So generative AI makes it possible to interact with users in new and different ways. We don't know exactly how you might want to use it. So it could be using chatbots that can then retrieve information from a knowledge base, create marketing content, be it copy or imagery that's now specific to your users and their needs, or conversational search, where you're asking questions about what you're looking for and then iterating based on that answer. However, generative AI lacks the context of what the user's preferences and behaviors are. You could pass that in as context into the prompt, but passing the entirety of what a user's interests are in a single prompt becomes challenging and also could be expensive. That's where the power of Amazon Personalize comes in. So Amazon Personalize provides a scalable, low-cost way to generate recommendations across an entire user base and item space. So you can create a large set of recommendations, get them ready, use them in real time in a large language model scenario. So that could be from user personalization, which, as Tia mentioned, provides the most relevant items in real time to a user's behavior, what's trending now on a site, to the best search result. Again, many more use cases, but this is just different ways that we feel can combine. However, we're not sure how you might want to use it, which is why we launched the return metadata and LangChain feature. So let's dive a little bit more into this feature. So Amazon Personalize is an API-based service that provides a response based on an ask. So what we have here is the Amazon User Personalization API response. So for simplicity's sake, I'm asking for just one recommendation. Generally, you get 25. You can ask up to 500 recommendations. What you previously got was you got the item ID, and you got the relevance score. So this is how relevant is this item for this user. However, that's not a lot of information to pass to a large language model. There's nothing there for the large language model to grab onto. So I'm going to have to make a call out to an external service, get that item identification, get the description, get the plot, get the awards it's won, whatever I need to generate my output. So what I've done here with the metadata return feature that we launched is I'm now saying I want the item, I get the score, which I've always been able to get, but give me the title, give me the description, give me the plot, give me everything I need to know to provide to a language model. So how would you use that in an application? Let's go into an architecture. So let's start with the general personalized architecture. So as Tia mentioned, Personalize is an API-based service that trains models on your behalf based on training data. So this data is item data, so what you know about your content or your item catalog. So this is the description, the plot, the awards, all the stuff you know about your content. This generally comes from a content management system or item database. Then you have the interaction. So this is what you know, what your users have clicked on, what they've watched, what they've added to their cart, what they purchased, what they favorited. This is all of the interactions. This generally comes from an analytics platform or a customer data platform. Then optionally, you also have user data. So this is your user demographics, what you know about your users. This could be subscription level, user demographics, any information. That's all then used to train an Amazon personalized model, which generates a real-time API or batch inference that can provide recommendations in real time as needed. Using this new feature, you can now take these recommendations, pass them to the custom chain in LangChain or any other orchestration system, bring that information in, which includes a prompt template. So from a generative AI perspective, this is what are you trying to achieve? Like what application are you building? And I'll show an example in a second. That can also include what information you know about the items you're recommending, build that all into a combined prompt, pass that to Amazon Bedrock, for instance, to generate an output. So in this scenario, let's generate a one-to-one personalized email for a customer. So let's go into that and actually pick apart what that looks like from a prompt perspective. So I have the prompt. I've simplified things. You don't have to read everything here. I just want to give an example. So in the prompt, I'm instructing the model or the large language model what I want. I want a marketing email that gets people to engage with my platform and watch the titles. I also am going to provide you the titles and some information about it. So you combine the prompt with the returned metadata, which is the titles, the descriptions, everything you know about a title, and the output is a one-to-one personalized email. So now I've taken that and I've generated what you want to watch, has an engaging title, it has the full body of it. This can be one-to-one personalized. Depending on your use case, though, you might not want to do one-to-one personalization. That's where the user segmentation feature in Amazon Personalize comes in, where you can generate hundreds of segments and then customize to those segments using the large language model. So the end result, though, is tailored recommendations via an email that gets people to engage with your platform. So let's go into a demo. I'll show the console how to build it, and we'll talk through how to use it in an application. So what I have here is the Amazon Personalize Console. And in the console, I have a set of dataset groups. A dataset group in Amazon Personalize is all of the data training to build a recommender system. So in that dataset group, I have two different data sets that I've uploaded the data, and I've provided the input. So I have a combination of two things, which is one, the items. So this is everything I know about my content. So for this demo, I'm actually using the IMDb data, which is available in Amazon Data Exchange. Fantastic set of metadata about my titles, movies and TV shows. I've then also trained a popular items model. Or I've got interactions, as well. So the interactions are what people have clicked on and what they've built. So from that, I've trained models. So in personalized terms, a solution is the trained model and the surrounding capabilities. So the similar items model is the similar items and also is the heavy lifter of the themed recommendations capability that we launched. So I've also created a popularity model. So in my catalog, I have 18,000 movies. I don't want to generate themes for all 18,000 movies. So I've created a list of the top 100 popular items using that popular items recipe. And I'm going to now use that as input into a batch inference using the new feature. So I'm going to start a batch inference job, and I'm going to use the themed recommendations capability with the content generator. I'm going to give it a name. Again, it's the top 100, so I'm giving it the top 100 as the name. I'm going to use the similar item solution that I've already trained, and I'm going to get 10 responses just to make it easy to read. I'm going to give it 2 bits of information, the item name and the description. The description is the plot, and the item name is the title in media terms. The plot is the unstructured text feature, so it's automatically detected. And then I'm going to give it that list of 100 titles. So now I'm providing the input JSON, which is the 100 titles, and an output location. So this will generate 100 themes. One thing to note, though, is similar items may not always be similar. They're co-interacted. So I'm actually implementing a feature, which is our current item filter, to actually look and say, does this have the same content maturity rating, so PG-13R, and does it have the same genre? So this is a feature we launched to help really make sure the similar items match in similarity. So I'm going to create the output. So let's pull up the output and take a look at what the output includes. So what you're going to see here is the JSON output, which is the seed item. So this is my seed item that I generated the similar items from. And then the reordered list of similar items and the theme that those 10 items match. So crime and mystery is the theme here. One other key point is you get the relevance scores. So this is how relevant are these items to the theme that I've generated. So I highly recommend using human reviewers to validate these titles and their applicability to the themes and the themes' applicability to your content and your needs. So let's now take this into a fictional streaming site. So what you have here is Unicorn Flix, which is our fictional streaming site, similar to one you'd see on any connected TV or Amazon Fire TV device. It has a lot of things that you'd come to expect, such as top picks for you. So this is the Amazon Personalized User Personalization recipe at work here. So based on my recent activity, here's the most recent set of titles that are interesting to recommend to me. I have the Trending Now feature, which we launched, which is just what's trending now on my platform in real time. And then I have the type of things that you would come to expect from any site. So comedy, action, drama, all the genre-based carousels or shelves, as they call them. Now I've created this custom themed recommendation. So this is a micro-genre rail. So this is classic literature's tragic love stories. So this was generated from the Amazon Personalized Content Generator, and it matches my interests. So I've been watching a lot of period pieces, a lot of historical dramas. So this is a pretty good set of micro-genre titles to recommend to me. I'm going to change my behavior now, and I'm going to start clicking on other titles and really start engaging with different titles. So let's watch a bunch of documentaries. So we'll go down and click on some documentaries. So every time I send a click in, I'm technically watching it. I'm sending the event. So Man on Wire. So what you see here is the similar items that it's normally presented to a user. So if I like Man on Wire, here's King of Kong, Spellbound, other documentaries I may watch. So let's click on a bunch of documentaries. So clicking and clicking and clicking, I'm watching documentaries. So now that I've watched 4 documentaries, let's do a refresh and see what set of micro-genre titles. So now I get captivating stories of life, art, and music. So this is following my behavior. So it's changed. I now am interested in documentaries. Pretty good set of recommendations. Now let's watch a bunch of big Hollywood sci-fi movies. So clicking on the most popular trending Hollywood sci-fi movies, watch 4 or 5 of those, and then we'll do a refresh. So I'm also using the re-rank capability here. So I'm actually re-ranking the results, which is how these rails are changing based on my behavior. So now I get out of this world adventures. So again, this is designed to get me deeper into the catalog. I've watched everything the popular site has that's brand new, but they want to keep me engaged, so get me into these deeper catalog titles. So let's use the return metadata feature now. So in my fictional site, I have this feature to chat with the site. So I can ask for a set of recommendations. So let's say, recommend me some drama movies. So using LangChain, you can actually use this to call out to Amazon Personalize with the filter to say, give me recommendations for this user specific to drama. So I'm going to get back a set of titles and their associated metadata that are drama. So I now can then engage with these titles, and I can say, well, I know I asked for drama, but I want a funny drama. So are any of these titles funny? You can, again, just have a conversation, dig into these titles, get information. So we can say, are any of these funny? In this case, none of these dramas have comedic elements, so I'm going to go back to the well. I'll ask again. This is making another Amazon Personalized call, getting another set of recommendations. Now I think maybe I want comedy movies. So now that I've got these movies, I can ask about the movies. I can say, oh, these look like a decent set of recommendations. Let's look at Grand Budapest Hotel. Let's ask about that. Who directed Grand Budapest? No, it's not a keyword matching. I'm actually asking generally about the content, not spelling it correctly, maybe shortening the title. It's able to tell me, yes, Wes Anderson directed this movie. Good. Did it win any awards? Is it something I should invest my time in watching? So it can then go back to the metadata that was provided and query it and find out, yes, it has won quite a few awards. So that is the generative AI kind of integrations. There's many different ways from marketing emails. How you use it is really up to what integrations you build, why we built this type of integration. So with that, I will hand it over to Daryl.
All right. My name is Daryl Putt. I'm the EVP of Technology Platforms for Fox. I oversee a number of different teams. Germane to this conversation is our P&R, or Personalization and Recommendations team. Make sure I have the right water there. Don't want to drink Liam's. Their focus is really using personalization to drive usage and revenue across all of our platforms, because that personalized experience is really key to our customer experience. Across Fox, we have a number of different brands, so Fox Sports, Tubi, Fox Entertainment, our Fox Local Stations, Fox News Media. Across those, Tubi is the #1 AVOD platform in America, so the largest advertising-supported VOD solution. Obviously, Fox News, #1 news channel. So we have a lot of scale. You look at our monthly active users, about 300 million monthly active users. We do our largest events, things like the Super Bowl. We've seen well over 6 million concurrent streaming viewers at that point in time. And pretty much every second of every day, we're collecting about 50,000 data points per second. So what we do at scale. And the reason we do all of this is what we call total view time. Other companies might call it something else, so minutes spent, whatever it may be. But really, total view time is kind of the core metric in our business. It's essentially the total amount of time that people are watching your content. So no matter what your business's monetization strategy is, subscription video on demand, advertising, supported video on demand, companion advertising, really the more time you have people watching your content, obviously the better it is. We can sell more ads against that. If it's a subscription service, the more you watch, the more likely to be happy, the less likely you are to churn out as part of it. So pretty much every revenue strategy comes back to TVT, or total view time. And like I said, we have a number of different business units, and that proposes a little bit of a challenge for us because we don't have individual technology teams that do everything across all these businesses. Certainly some things are bespoke. But we've been working with Amazon for quite some time, and you can see here we're using a ton of their infrastructure across what we do across much of our business. I called out a few things here. Our Media Cloud platform is something that we use to all the video pipelines, encoding everything we do for both live and VOD assets across all of our businesses. Spark, our CMS, and our P&R team. All of these are built entirely on top of Amazon Web Services solutions, and we're using them in different ways across sports, entertainment, station, news, kind of all of our different business units. We think about our journey with AWS as it pertains to personalization, and we look about 8 years ago. Freeze it around. This was, we were kind of starting to get in the streaming business. We'd launched our Fox Sports Go apps, Fox News, Fox Entertainment, FX, and everything at that point in time. We were trying to bring personalization into that experience. At that point in time, it was pretty limited, the offerings on the market. There were a few companies out there offering some pretty basic things, just basic item similarity modeling type things, collaborative filtering models, nothing that was too advanced. And there was some open source options out there. The off-the-shelf ones are actually quite expensive, so we decided to go with an open source solution. I can say what that is now. It's Prediction.io. Now it's in the Apache Attic, so I can say it out loud here. We went with that. The problem was we didn't know what we didn't know, and that lack of experience led to a lot of bad decisions. We did real-time modeling for literally everything, which gets really expensive in terms of the service requests and how long those take to go round trip. The infrastructure we had to manage, obviously ourselves on that side of things. It wouldn't support EMR, so doing your Elastic MapReduce to be able to get the data into a good form wasn't something supported by that platform at that point in time. And it turned out that free open source software was actually quite expensive and had a pretty negative ROI for us. So after a few years, we were looking for other options and other places we could go. 2018, I'm sure many of you in this room are familiar with SageMaker. We started exploring that and working with it for some of the item similarity models and some of the easier things that we could pick off that point in time. We'd luckily gained some chops in the data science area at that point in time. But it was really in 2019 at this very conference when Personalize was announced that we started getting on board with that and working with our partners there. So since that time, we've been using it pretty exclusively with some SageMaker to power a lot of the use cases that are most popular and driving a lot of the total view time across many of our different properties. Why we made that decision, obviously, there's still other options out there at that point in time. Like I said, we go back a long way with AWS. We've been cloud native for over a decade, and with AWS that entire time. All of our interaction data for all of our users was already stored in Amazon, so all the event data that we were capturing was already there, so everything we need to feed into those models already existed, as well as all of our content metadata through the aforementioned Media Cloud platform that we had there. Obviously, going to a managed service means that we don't have to spend our time managing the infrastructure and everything else that turned out to be a challenge for us and our lack of experience in that area. And obviously, we had the team supporting us. They're building these recipes for the media and entertainment verticals. Obviously, there's ones for retail, many other ones. But it allowed us to work with someone who'd really seen these at scale across different competitive companies for ours and could recommend what was really going to be important for us. And so it really eliminated most of our weaknesses. The real-time modeling stuff that wasn't necessary at that point. We were bringing in way too many data points that weren't actually driving anything in terms of predicates, high latency infrastructure, all those kind of things. So working with AWS was an obvious choice for us at this point. And so I'll talk about a couple of ways that we actually implemented it and the outcomes that you'll see here. You can already see these giant numbers here, and I mean giant in every way. In 2019, the first time we launched Personalize was in our Fox Nation app, which is a subscription video on demand platform, part of our news vertical, but it's really kind of a lifestyle app. Do a lot of reality programming, true crime, faith-based content, things like that. And the most powerful piece of real estate that we have in those apps is what we call the end card. So if you've ever been watching Netflix or anything else, you come to the end of something and it says, hey, the next thing you're going to watch should be this. And that's really easy if you're watching episodic drama. It's like, oh, I'm watching Suits, season 2, episode 4. Like, you should probably watch season 2, episode 5. That's a really easy thing to do. But a lot of the content that we have, there's no kind of obvious next thing. We don't do a lot of episodic dramas. So how are we going to use that real estate to keep people watching content and not having to manually search for things? And so when we launched the models and moving away from prediction I/O and using Personalize to do that, we saw an increase of 45% in terms of all minutes streamed coming from that end card. And even more importantly, we saw a 15% reduction in the bounce rate, which means that people were more satisfied with what they were seeing on that end card, which is obviously huge for us. So I'll show you what this looks like here. This is Abby Hornacek's show. That's her dad, Jeff Hornacek, a former great Utah Jazz point guard. I'll show you how it looks like here.
That was really fun, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the documentary.
Yeah, can I go clean my garage now?
You can go clean your garage, and I'm sorry for agonizing you about the loss in the NBA finals.
I'll go cry in the garage.
Then I won't walk in. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you've watched this. He's very sad, obviously, for never winning the NBA Finals. But you come to the end here, and you see two recommendations. We're using Personalize for both of these. The first is an item similarity type model, because, again, there is no kind of obvious next episode in that series. So the world of TikTok with Casey McDonald, so something really related to that particular piece of content you were watching just now. And the second one is something that's actually using your user interaction context a lot more. So this one, I was just kind of clicking around to create something. This is a documentary about Hunter Biden. I've actually never watched it. I'm sure it's whatever. But it gives the options there, essentially, so that we have personalized experiences for you and more of what you're already watching there. That's what drives those 45% increases. Like, that's a huge number for us because, again, going back to TVT, keeping people watching video constantly and not going back to a screen and searching for things is the best thing we can do to drive that forward. I'll take you through a second example that kind of shows the flexibility of it for us, which is our Fox Sports app. So Fox Sports really couldn't be much more different. Fox Nation is something that's very much video on demand, long-form content. Fox Sports is almost all about the live event that is going on at that point in time. And recommending content to a live streaming audience can be really challenging because everybody ends the game at the exact same time, and so you're dealing with thundering herds, you're dealing with the latency coming back from that, and it can be a really unique challenge, and that's where the scale of personalizing their services have been really powerful for us. And so we used to have an experience, which I'll show you in a second here, where basically you would come to the end of an event and it would just say, thanks for watching. That's great, we'd like to thank people, that's nice. That's not doing a whole lot for us. By using Personalize and bringing people into personalized recommended content, we were able to recognize this 400% increase in content starts. We actually launched this during the Women's World Cup this year, and it had an immediate and huge impact here. And now those recommendations are #1 in average minutes viewed coming out of the end of those events. So I'll show you what it used to look like here. I actually picked this for Kevin, so let's go ahead and watch this one.
This is Tim Brando saying we'll see you with Texas Houston next Saturday on Fox.
It's like the worst case scenario right there. I mean, great, because UCLA lost. But the worst case scenario, because at the end of the content here, you're stuck with a dead end, which is a place we never want our users to be. They're stuck here looking at something that's saying, thanks for watching, but there's no obvious next step for them to take, no obvious next best action there. And worse than that, I can't monetize that. And even worse than that, it costs me money just to keep delivering this slate to you over the CDN. So there's really no upside for us in this. So now, by doing this, and like I said, we did this during the Women's World Cups when we launched it, you now go into a situation like this.
Our entire Fox Sports crew, this is Tim Brando saying we'll see you with Texas Houston next Saturday on Fox.
And for Marcus Dupree at fullback. Jiminy.
Austin Jones in the backfield, and here goes Caleb Williams. Go deep, young man, and one out. Touchdown, Brendan Rice.
Jiminy.
That's one to watch all the way through. It's a great moment early in the season before things went horribly wrong. I will admit I edited that because I really wanted to do that to Kevin as part of this. There was an ad that existed between these things. So normally when you come out of the end of the event, there's actually a 15-second pre-roll we give you, and then we go into tailored highlights. But this was actually recommended to me because I watch a lot of USC content. That's where I went to college. And so it actually knew that I would be interested in that. And so number one, it's driving monetization. It's pushing me into pre-roll. It's actually able to monetize me after I finish the event there. And number two, it's a never-ending loop. Once this goes, it goes on the next one to the next one to the next one. So it keeps you in that experience, which is always driving that total view time up. And like I said, still the most important thing we do. And so what's coming up next for us? There's a few things. Generative AI. I'll talk on the next slide here about a few of the things we're investing in and that we're working on right now to create hyper-personalized experiences using generative AI. LangChain integration, was mentioned earlier by, I would say my esteemed colleague, but we're not colleagues, we're just great partners, Tia. The LangChain integration with Personalize. And the Amazon Personalized Content Generator, so I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do with that as well. And obviously for us at scale, I talked about the Nation example, the Fox Nation example, the Fox Sports example. We also do this for Fox.com and the Fox Now product. Obviously there's other business units we like to bring that out to really show the flexibility of what it can do for us. So I'll talk through a couple of these next cases right here. The first one's the conversational recommenders. So kind of similar to the demo that Liam showed earlier, we've been making some pretty big investments in generative AI internally. And the work that has been released this week actually allows us to kind of bring that together with the personalized services so that we can bring it all together as something that is unified for end users. On the Fox Nation product, we often have kind of themed months. So it might be True Crime Month or a faith-based month or whatever it might be. And so all the marketing goes around that, everything you see, the inbound communications, they all are kind of tied to that theme. And in the past, that was a number of people's jobs to have to say, okay, well, it's faith month. We got to make some editorially created collections that are going to be really tied to that thing that we're pushing out there. So they'd go through this library of thousands of assets and try to find things that really fit that based upon the metadata that we knew about everything. And certainly it works, but it's a pretty tedious job, and we don't really think we're getting the best selection of assets. So what we've already built actually for these editors, and something we're going to be expanding with some of the work coming for Personalize, is something that allows them to use a conversational interface, so a chat-like interface, and say, create a collection of 20, of 30, whatever they think the right number of collection is, of true crime content with a faith-based angle. And it'll bring back to them, obviously, all of the content that relates to that, but not only bring that content, but bring back the content they think is going to be the most successful for that quantity of content, and in the order that they believe will be the most successful, so that when we put it in front of our users, it's most likely to have the biggest impact on them. So really excited about that. Probably not as excited as our editors are. That's huge for them. The second thing is the marketing email generator. So Liam touched a little bit on this earlier. You know, when I talk about TVT, total view time, the worst thing for us is when you turn off the television. You're not watching anymore. My whole job is to get you watching it again. And so really what I'm trying to do is find any way I can to say, hey, there's great stuff for you here. You should come and watch it again. So using the capabilities, we're working right now on building that marketing email so that we know what content you're most likely to interact with, so that we can create those emails and say, hey, here's some content we think you'll be interested in. We can decorate and make it very personalized as part of that. But also, we can send it at a time we think you're most likely to actually interact with it. So by using all the capabilities unleashed by what Personalize announced here, we're really excited about what that's going to drive forward for us. So, you know, I think it would be an understatement to say that this generation of AI is moving incredibly fast, obviously very, very fast last week in particular. Who knows exactly where it's going, but obviously having a partner like AWS to be with us and work through this with us allows us to be nimble and maximize our efforts at Fox. So a huge thank you to them for that. And with that, I will welcome back to the stage Tia.
Thank you, Daryl. Okay, so a couple of things. I was talking too much and going over my time. So one thing I wanted to highlight before I get into this closeout slide is that for next best action, we have a launch partner, Credera. It's a global boutique consulting company across all the continents, right? And they've already been trained on next best action. They've already been trained on Personalize. So if you want to accelerate your adoption of next best action, please reach out to them. They are a premier partner with AWS, and they can help you fast track your adoption of that. In addition, we have a session on Wednesday, November 29th, and it's a workshop. It's a hands-on workshop that brings some of our most brilliant essays to you to be able to enable and understand how you can personalize marketing content with generative AI and Amazon Personalize. You just heard Daryl mention how important that is for Fox, so you can take that back to your end users and your teams. We have our product detail page, we have our documentation, we have the QR codes for that, and again, we have our QR code intentionally for partners, because I just mentioned Credera and others are phenomenal partners that can help you accelerate your journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you from Liam, Daryl, and I. That's why you get 3 thank yous. Our LinkedIn QR codes, please complete the survey and give us glowing scores, because we've been awesome. But we really appreciate your time today. I know you could be a million other places, almost 6 p.m. This time you probably have dinners and events to go to, but hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully we have enriched you and we have triggered your mind to think about the next best action you are going to take for your company and how you are going to leverage Amazon Personalize and generative AI, whether it's the managed capability, LangChain, or Metadata, to create profoundly enriched, hyper-personalized experience for your end users. I hope you have a great day.